As we briefly saw in the previous chapter, using Dreamweaver's preferences, you can associate different file types with different editors. So if you prefer to use Photoshop, you can set up Photoshop to be the icon that appears here no matter what image is selected, even if it's not a smart object. You'll do that if you're on Windows by choosing Edit, Preferences. If you're on a Macintosh, you'll want to go under the Dreamweaver menu and choose Preferences. The settings you want are in the File Types Editors category. Here you'll see a series of commonly used extensions. That is, extensions that are commonly used in web design. For example, .psd, this Photoshop file, is already associated with Photoshop as the primary editor for anything with that file type. That's part of why that smart object brought up Photoshop automatically. However, the JPEG option is not set with Photoshop as the primary editor. To make an editor that's already on a list like this primary, all you have to do is select it and choose the Make Primary button. If Photoshop wasn't on this list at all, you'd want to choose the plus sign, find Photoshop on your hard drive, select it, and again, make sure you're selecting the program itself, open it, and that would add it to the list. Then, once it's added, you could select it and make it primary. If you want to remove one, you can use the minus sign to remove it. And you can do this with each of the file types in this list. So again, we could make Photoshop the primary editor for GIFs, we could make it the primary editor for PNG files, and anything else. Now, the Flash file we probably want to associate with Flash. And you can actually add any file types you want. Notice here we have another Flash format, we have movie files, QuickTime. You could add QuickTime here as the editor, or you could add Adobe Premiere or whatever your video editing preference is. So sound files, video files, animation files, image files, whatever files you think you'll be working with in Dreamweaver, it's nice to take a little time here and associate each of them with an editor so you can speed up your workflow as you're working in the program. So now that we've associated JPEG with Photoshop as the primary editor, watch what happens when I click OK. I come back into Dreamweaver, I click on that image, and sure enough, the Photoshop icon is there. So if I click now on that icon, it will automatically open that image in Photoshop. And that concludes our introduction to web graphics. I hope that this has helped you learn the very basics of preparing images for the web and appreciating how Dreamweaver works now with programs like Photoshop. After all, no matter how great your content is, it seems like the images are always what most attracts attention on your web pages.